is we ought to prohibit the use of text messaging while driving, because that, quite frankly, is more distracting than talking on the cell phone. Because a lot of cell phones now, you can just push a button, say a name, say like Mr. Carrillo, your phone number will come up, it will dial, and then you're done. All you got to do is speak into it, you push one button. But text messaging is a difficult thing. And
however, Bob says that's going to be cleaned up.
Yeah, but we can prohibit it, I believe, as a policy, say, look, it's more restrictive than the law saying you cannot text message while driving.
But the point I think he's making, and Bob had indicated, it will become law shortly.
But it might not. That's my only thing. If we do it now,
is it?
Well, Mike, you made a comment in accordance with the state law. Would that suffice? In the meantime, in the interim?
It would, unless the state law does not prohibit text messaging. And if we feel strongly about that, then I suggest that it be put in this policy, which could easily be done by just changing the word strongly discouraged to prohibited.
Absolutely.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
if you're going to do the policy, you might as well. I would strongly encourage you to address the issue of text messaging, because
and I'll go back to my original premise. And Bob, have you read the text thing on the text and any of the wordsmithing on the text?
Even the statute?
Yeah.
It's as likely to pass
anything else.
as the budget is of not being on the constitutional deadline.
But I
Assured.
Yeah, it's a sure thing.
yeah. Well, my question is, have you read anything? Is it designed to specifically prohibit?
Texting.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the language is very clear. It says
So
you
why?
shall not text
So
message.
why do we? My question goes back to why do we need an ordinance?
We don't have anything right now in place with respect to the text message.
It's not an ordinance, by the way.
It's not a law. Yeah, this is a policy. There's no law that prohibits anybody from, my understanding is that there's no law currently that prohibits anybody from driving down the road and text messaging anybody what they want to text message while driving.
But the deal is, if we hold off on this for a short period, I mean, we
Absolutely.
see if it passes, which it's anticipated it will, then it could be that this whole thing is just unnecessary. What was the genesis of this, anyway?
To initially, well, I don't know, what was it?
Initially, to make sure that we're complying with the law and that we're notifying our employees of the change, and we have it in our policy as well.
Actually, this started many, many months ago before it became law, and I think we started working on it in January, but unfortunately it took a lot of time to get all of the input. The intent was, knowing that this was coming, to actually have implemented policy a few months ago before July 1st.
Ahead of the law.
I think it becomes an issue, especially for the county, because so many of your department heads, including me, are using cell phones a lot, cell phones and email texting, and we end up being tempted to do that while driving to another meeting. And it's very common for county employees to be doing that on the job, which is, I think, what this policy addresses.
Well, that's an advantage for me. I don't know how to text anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And probably a couple of here don't either.
There's no reason that this couldn't be just simply tabled until such time that...
I'm going to ask that it be tabled until such time we see what happens with text law. And then the genesis of this was to come out before the law, uncertain that the law was going to be passed. But since it was passed, makes this perhaps even moot.
You want me to withdraw the motion?
Yes, if you would, please.
I withdraw.
Okay. Motion is drawn. We'll table this and watch what happens with the rest of the legislation. And should that legislation pass, I see that the will of the board is that this then becomes unnecessary.
And by the way, a copy of the law has been sent to you, each of you via email, just so that you're aware.
Okay, thank you. I didn't get that with my paycheck or my department head.
Actually emailed.
Wait, I'm the department head, because never mind. Okay, about that discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is item 10, the discussion regarding approval of changes to personal allocation for behavioral health. Michael Martin.
as a point of reference, during the budget hearings, this request was made, and you asked that it be brought back at a regular board meeting. HR has reviewed these, and these are the same allocations that are proposed in 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I would so move on the requested action.
Second.
We have a second? There's no changes from what was presented, right?
It was cleaned up a little bit, and now one of the big concerns was how many vacant, unfunded positions were being eliminated, and there are 80.
There were what?
There's 80 vacant, unfunded positions.
Somehow your microphone is not working or something.
There's 80 vacant, unfunded positions that are being eliminated.
Okay. So does this reduce the number of positions in by 80?
Correct.
Right.
That we had on the books.
Correct.
Which is basically cleaning up the
But
books.
we're redoing some of these positions too, right?
Correct.
Some of the job classifications are being changed to meet state law.
Okay. All right, and I think that's what it was, that you needed to do this sooner than perhaps we were ready to do on the
That'll help,
budget. We need to do this
expedite.
action today.
When they have been hiring, many times they have hired by way of under-hiring a position that wouldn't normally be in a career ladder. And so this will allow them to hire the positions they actually need. They may still under-hire, but they will likely be in a career path.
Right. And you've had it several times when you come to talk about people working out of class.
Right.
It had to do with some of this as well?
Yes, this will help
And
eliminate.
we'll help eliminate some of that. All right. Any other discussions or questions? We did discuss this in budget hearing, so. All right, then please vote. And that passes by vote. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Number 11, discussion action regarding approval authorization to sign the actuary consultant services agreement with Milliman Incorporated.
Ron Grassi, Director of Human Resources and Risk Management. We've used Middleman for many years to conduct our actuarial studies for our health and dental funding. They are probably one of the better well-known in the state and possibly the country. And we're suggesting that we use Middleman to go ahead and conduct our OPEB actuarial study, which is required by the new Gatsby laws.
Yes, and
There was money budgeted in this past year's budget for the county executive office. It was budgeted at $20,000. However, after meeting with the consultants and getting a proposal and scope of work from them, they anticipate the cost to be between $30,000 and $40,000. So we're upping that by $15,000 to give us $35,000. And that would still be in the county executive office.
And there's an attached budget amendment resolution to deal with that.
Mr. Chair, move for the requested action.
I have a second?
Second.
I'm interested to see what the results are and nervous at the same time. I don't know if anybody else is nervous about
We
it.
have good reason to be.
Joe and I aren't.
Yeah, well, as county residents, as long as you're county residents, you should be, but nevertheless, some of these numbers in other places come out huge. I don't expect that that'll be the case here. Hopefully, it'll be within reason.
The requested action includes all three items.
Yes, it does. Okay. All right, thank you. Please vote.
Thank you.
And that passes by vote. Number 12, discussion action regarding approval of closing the dental program and proceed with force reduction layout pursuant to county policy and procedures.
Good morning, Robert Hodgman, Director of the Public Health Department. I return to you, unfortunately, talking about a program that no longer is meeting an unmet need. Our volume remains low, although there has been a little more activity in getting some of our current clients back in for services. But in building any new clients, we still have not been able to do that.
Just a question I have, Mr. Chair. Robin, at the Betty Jo McNeese Receiving Home, all of the clients have examinations, and if there's a need for dental care, then where would they go, to a clinic or a healthcare provider?
We do the screenings for Betty Jo McNeese, and we do the referrals, and we do the follow-ups for those. And if dental care that's currently we're referring to our dentist, we would be referring to one of the other dentists in the community.
Okay, so whatever needs that these children have is going to be met by existing services throughout. There's not going to be any child that has need of medical dental attention. We will, I guess you'll have applicants